Alright, let's go. Coffee and Carnifexes, episode 3. We have the tournament talk today. But I want to start with a little hobby update as we go here. Right now I'm working on getting my Genestealers painted. I got the base right now, I got a little bit of touch up to do on them. I have to do the weapons and a little bit of my layering and a little bit of contrast detailing. They're almost more or less done here. And I got a game of 40k in this past Sunday here at a little shop called Tanuki Tabletop. It's in China Springs, Texas, little shop. A little ways. Really nice shop though. Really cool store owner. Really great guy. Very welcoming. Got to play a game against a guy named Tyson, who was running Drukhari or Dark Eldar. I haven't played against them in freaking ever. The army is absolutely beautifully painted. It's fantastic. I took the pictures of it. I should it's okay to like show off people's armies. I never really ask about showing photos off publicly, so we're not gonna do that right now here, even though we're really small and a lot of people might not see it here. But also this weekend, I'm going to be playing in a tournament at the Heroes Retreat in San Antonio. It's a little bit of a haul for me. And I'm finally going to branch out out of an invasion fleet. I'm going to run Crusher Stampede. Right now I'm looking at, I might switch this around because I do have some extra psychophages. I might throw in and just really hammer home like the monster aspect here. But at the moment, because I feel like I need a little bit more diversity than that. I'm looking at running a Broodlord for the first, well, it'll be the second time here. A locking Hive Tyrant. I might not run the heavy venom cannon. I might just switch it to exercising talons here. We'll see. I haven't really tried the venom cannon too much yet. I mean, an extra couple strength 9 minus 2 3 damage shots isn't a terrible thing with our plethora of 3 damage shots out there we have, but hey. The Neurotyrant, he's kind of there to help with objectives and synapse. I maybe toast some marines, we'll see. BATTLELINE, I want to try the Gargoyles out. The idea for them is maybe not so much screening. I think I'm more or less might hold them in reserve more often than not, depending on the mission and the deployment and what I'm against. And I might deep strike them in turn 2 or 3, like in the backfield, with the idea of maybe them working with like, the Trigon that came in before them as a distraction or to hit to try and put pressure on either like a flank or like their home objective. The Hormagaunts, they might screen, or they might hang back and maybe block deep striking and then kind of move up to help with objectives and secondaries as we go. Because they just have enough speed they can kind of get where I need them to. We'll see how that goes. We got the mandatory Biovore, well, not quite mandatory, but you know, throw some Spore Mines down, hold the backfield, maybe block some block some movement a little bit, maybe harass some lone characters that aren't lone ops that are hanging on the backfield, buffing people. I only have one Exocrine currently. In the future, I'll probably run more in the Crusher Stampede. But one Exocrine to kind of help out, add some extra damage, give us our one of the reroll on hits, or on shooting phase here. 10 Genestealers, we go with the Broodlord. The idea with the Genestealers and Broodlords probably either going to be they go in reserves and they come in turn 2 or 3 on a flank, and just hit where I need them, or they kind of move, depending on the terrain layout, between like the central objective and one of the flank objectives or one of the side objectives, and just countercharge where I need them, basically. And we're gonna run a Haruspex for fun. If he makes it into melee, he's pretty awesome, and for 125 points, adding the monster theme and the target saturation, it's kind of fun. I like it. Elector to help us with objectives, give us a free rapid ingress as well with the Trigon. And maybe the harass a little bit, but he's really going to be an objective jockey, because I need a little bit more of that here. We're going to run the Maliceptor, because it's fantastically tanky, some decent shooting, decent in melee, nice -1 buff here, or debuff, I should say. I know an Emissary to take most likely the central objective. I'm playing around with the idea in my head of him taking one of the side objectives, and him just kind of holding a flank by himself, and then the rest of my army focusing on the central and the other side objective, and then my deep striker reserves supporting the Nord if they have to. I'm not sure how that play out, because I mean, he does attract a lot of shooting when he takes the central objective, and he does distract for, you know, usually 2 turns of shooting, it feels like, at the very least, before he goes down, so. A Screamer Killer just adds to the Monster Mash. Hope he gets in. Doesn't, you know, hopefully ate a lot of shots on the way. Try going the deep strike into the backfield and just be harassment, or maybe if they just stick either home objective and leave it, him and the Gargoyles are going to try and take advantage of that situation. Or if they have something like artillery or indirect fire back there, they can come back and maybe do something about it. And then a Tyranids with the Casino Cannon to just blow up some tanks, hopefully, or, big monstrous creatures, or whatever we really need to get rid of. Like I said, I'm playing around with the idea of adding a couple Psychophages in. I don't really want to draw monsters for it. And I did play around with the idea of running the Swarmlord and a Walking Tyrant, and just having a ton of command points so I can always use the abilities, because all the monster abilities are really cool, especially being able to move through like ruins and walls. Might be really nice, especially if we're playing. They have really nice terrain, so I'll be able to take advantage of that line of sight blocking terrain and get my monsters in the positions people would not expect. You kind of do it once per movement phase for one monster, but once you get rerolls, I have 3 different ways to get people -1 to hit in close combat. And I also have basically all my monsters, once they start getting wounded, are +1 to hit, and then once they're below half strength, are +1 to wound as well. And I have ways to give them rerolls in close combat, ways to give them Ignore cover and Ignore modifiers for shooting. I mean, we can make them explode on purpose. We can basically give the monsters tank shock. There's a lot of really cool stratagems with this one too, so I'm looking forward to playing it. Nothing's super crazy all the way to wombo combo. It just, I mean, maybe there is to it. I just haven't played it yet. But it just seems really, really fun, to be honest. I'm looking forward to trying it here, so I think now's the time. When I played around with a couple ways, if I did drop the Genestealers and Broodlord because they kind of don't fit thematically, they hit like a truck. I could put in 2 Psychophages for that, and then maybe switch out the Gargoyles or Hormagaunts for something cheaper. And then put in a 3rd Psychophage if I really wanted to go home with the monster mash here. But I think I already have 9 monsters in the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we already have 9 on the list. And too many is going to make it a little difficult to maneuver more so than it already is with that many monsters. I don't know. I'm probably going to throw it around a little bit here and kind of go from there. And then sometime after the tournament, I'll probably make a video and we'll talk about it a little bit here. I'll try and get some photos and see if I can share some of that as well here. Alright, but let's talk about tournaments proper here. Just let me get started though. Tournaments are one of my favorite parts of the hobby. It's not because I'm also a competitive gamer or that I have to win at all costs. In fact, my first 3 tournaments back, I've only won a single game so far. I enjoy tournaments because I know it's going to be a full day of gaming and throwing some dice around. You don't know who you're going to play, especially in my case, rolling into various stores now as the new guy. It's a blast though. I mean, playing it with new people, checking out shops or venues, checking out all the various armies and tables. As well, you might get to play against a faction your local group or your friend group doesn't have. As well as someone's paint job or conversion can inspire you to do your own. It's like I said, it's a day to get out and enjoy your hobby in an organized way. Most people that enter a local game shop tournament are there simply to play. Yes, they may want to win, or hope to win, but at the end of the day, everyone's out to get a full day of Warhammer in. Sometimes you find that overly competitive person, or even that jerk person, but that happens. That can happen in any game or hobby as well. Sometimes people only have 1 day a month or 1 weekend a month that they can dedicate towards the hobby. So for many, it's a way to get in a few games guaranteed. Nowadays, we got things like Best Codes Pairing, which makes it really easy to find an event. You can also search several months ahead, so you can really plan ahead if you really need to. Now, I think going into a tournament, you should take it more seriously, though, than your casual pickup game. You may not know the person you're playing against, so playing fair, communicating, and moving at a good pace are really important. Start with communicating. It's a good idea to walk your opponent through your list at start. Show them what enhancement you have, weird abilities to watch out for, what your attachment does, what strategies you may have that are impactful, especially if they are not very familiar with the army. Also, it's a great idea to talk about the terrain. Make sure you're both calling the same piece the same thing. I think avoid that moment in a match of, oh, I thought this whole thing was ruins, or although this could be entered, I didn't realize this was meant to be closed off. Make sure you're both on the same page. Even when it comes to questionable line of sight issues, when getting your shot, talking out what you're doing as you go is a great way. It prevents those gotcha moments. Even things reminding your opponent, hey, this has an aura of -1 hit. It's just good sportsmanship, and sometimes it makes people play differently too. Instead of waiting for someone that doesn't know every army to activate your trap card, don't be afraid to clarify rule things either. I mean, look it up real fast or call a T over if you have to. It's better for everyone to know and do it right. That way, that mistake is never made again. Now, the biggest challenge for a tournament, in my opinion, is time. Let's start with, I don't think most events give enough time per round. 2.5 hours is not enough. If both people are playing, like, running, like, really elite armies, then it's probably enough. But I've seen one shop that is, like, 2.5 hours for the round, that goes 30 minutes just to set up, deploy, and talk over the armies, which I think is great. Gives you plenty of time to get everything done. Doing everything in, like, 2.5 hours puts you in, like, such a crunch. It really only gives each person 15 minutes per turn for their 5 turns. It really sucks being able to make it to turn 3 of a game when time is called. You really gotta do your best to hustle and move, but it's hard to memorize all the rules and not have to reference things as you go, which slows the game down. That's why I think this punishes people who are on high model count forces. Yes, there are lots of options for movement trays out there, but this is like another purchase in our expensive hobby. Horde armies are typically a bit slower to play. You have so much to move or shoot. Speaking of slow, though, let's talk about slow play. Whether intentional or not, it is a huge factor in tournament play. Yes, some people do it to give themselves an advantage, but I feel this is rare, like really rare. And if you're playing regularly in a community, you do this often, it'll be known, and eventually someone might require you to use a chess clock. Now, I think it is more often not done intentionally. Sometimes it comes to someone not knowing their list, or army all that well, or chronically have to reference stat lines, rules, or profiles. Perhaps they are very disorganized, and are also putting the reference away every time they need to use it, so they have to go back and dig it out every single time as well. Or for some reason they decide to always put their dice away. Back in their bag or in their pockets. So every time they need dice, they have to dig them out again, instead of just grabbing them off the table. Perhaps the player has a ton of shooting, and they have to reference every profile they are firing with, and suddenly this person's one shooting phase is 45 minutes. And I've had all the above happen to me, 13 minutes back, which, can't remember like some of the downsides sometimes, but honestly, it can be kind of painful sometimes. In casual play, it's not such a big deal. I'm gonna go get a snack, I go vape while you take your time. In a tournament setting, I'm locked in, I'm ready to go. Even if I'm just playing it for fun, we're timed. My 3 tournaments were my 5th through 13th games of 10th edition, coming back since 6th, and with over half my opponents, I felt like I knew my army's stats better than they knew their own. And I'm kind of old and just returning to this hobby. I'm still learning the nuance of this edition, but also I understand people learn and retain information at different levels and ranges. So I'm saying it's more of a generality in my freaking opinion. Now, I don't just want to bitch about it. I have some suggestions to speed up gameplay. Let's start with having your main play materials easily accessible at all times, including rules, measuring tapes or sticks, score counters, books, cards, dice, all that crap. Have all of it on hand. I know sometimes events might have limited space, let's spread your materials. Often there are extra chairs around, or you can grab a pop-up table. You can find like the old pop-up TV dinner stands for cheap often. I think our generation, they're going to wonder what TV stand dinner is. There are options to help you be more organized, though. That's the point. A lot of people show up with a pop-up rolling table to move their army and stuff around, plus it gives them extra service for gaming materials. I was looking at Amazon, those can be a little expensive, like the cheapest I found, some was like $50, so that's another investment in the hobby, unfortunately. Sorry, the birds are kind of queuing up now here, they've heard me talking for a while. Now your army, yes, know your army. Yes, it's near impossible to know everything all the time, but it's good to know a lot of your toughness values of your army, or the saves, or the strengths of weapons, or like your movement rates. Yeah, sometimes you're going to forget and have to check, or your opponent might question it and ask for the reference. But the more you know at the top of your head, the better. Your turns can go so much faster and smoother, giving you more time for decision making instead of just checking rules. The best way to learn to play is to play more, honestly. And trust me, I know getting in a single game of 40k is a time commitment many don't have all the time. If you're able to play more than just once a month at your local tournament, you will likely be able to do better in general and also play at a better pace. Also, don't be afraid to look over units night before a tournament. A little. It doesn't hurt, I know it's a game, but studying does help. Help keep it in your mind so you can spend more of your valuable round time playing instead of just referencing rules. Also, begin planning what you're going to do in your next turn during your opponent's turn. Start thinking it out when it's your turn, or start thinking out so when it's your turn, you don't just stand there loading and buffering before you start doing anything. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll give you a better flow. But at the end of the day, just remember, you're playing Warhammer having fun. I mean, in general, the Warhammer tournament scene is a really fun place. You'll meet some great people and get some fantastic games in. Ideally, some really close games. As for myself, once I get past mid-May, I plan to hit as many tournaments as I can a month. Hoping at least two a month, if not every Saturday. And there's a GT this summer I'm hoping to attend as well. Multiple day events are a blast as well. So it's for sure a bigger commitment. Often you need to travel, maybe get a hotel, but eventually to attend some of the really big events like Adepticon or Las Vegas Open. But we'll get there. I have a lot of other stuff going in life right now, so those aren't the rush, but I want to get more into like the regular tournament scene first and get playing on a very regular basis here. But hey, thank you for hearing me out and listening to me talk here. You have a good one, and go drink some coffee. Until next time.